afternoon, teacher. My name is Maria Perez, and today I am going to talk about cognitive processes. Cognitive processes are the key to understanding how we act, and how our brain works. In psychology, this question is basic to be able to advance in the knowledge of the human soul. Cognitive processes are the mental operation performed by the brain to process information. Throughout this operation, the brain works with information that surrounds it, stores it, and analyzes it to make the corresponding decisions. The influence on behaviors made them fundamental for adaptation to the social environment and survival. Cognitive processes, also called cognitive functions, include basic aspects such as perception, attention, and more elaboration ones such as thinking. Any activity we perform, such as reading, washing the dishes, or reading a bicycle, involves a cognitive processing. As expected, this occurs with the most of our daily activities. So when any of these cognitive functions suffer damage, unfortunately, the ability to perform certain activities also is impaired. Now, let's know a little about the basic cognitive processes. From a young age, human beings focus on their attention, which means to select some aspect of the surrounding context in order to perceive it consciously. Interestingly, as the subject grows older, the ability to pay attention remains limited in terms of amount of content. What does change noticeable so is the ability to pay attention and decide on the object on which it will fall. It is easy to distract young children because so many things catch their attention by chance. One element or object in the context barely catches their attention for a few seconds before another element in the environment gets it. Circle is hungry from early age. Humans are able to catch their attention. They can choose an important aspect of the environment on which they want to focus on. In respect of other basic cognitive processing, such as the ability to store in memory, infants to make a great effort to store or remember anything. It just happens as when they smell at the sight of their mother's face, or fidget at the sight of their teeth. That is to say, the memory of the little ones seems to depend more on the affectivity linked to perception than on a specific mental effort. It is only when they attend school that there is evidence of voluntary or international efforts to preserve or store something in their memory. Probably because in that stage of their lives they are forced to perception, attention, and memory. Memory. Memory is the processes that allows use to store past information for future use. Amazingly, these processes varies according to the species, but in human it can last several years. Memory can be further divided into short-term and long-term memory. One of the elements that distinguish use from animals is that in general the memory is reduced. However, we can maintain the memory of an event for several decades, even if it becomes less accurate. However, again, self-destruction causes this quality to be lost. This is the problem of dementias. One of the early symptoms of Alzheimer's is precisely the loss of memory. Okay, besides the memory, it's possible to highlight the following aspects. Two aspects. One, sensory memory. Two, working memory. And three, long-term memory. Sensory memory. This memory is related to the arrival of information receptor organ, the eyes. Until the brain has made its perception. Supersummary, its operative function that takes only seconds. The entry of the information is very fast. The persistence is very brief. It could be said that before another fixation occurs, the previous one has already disappeared, and the evocation depends on the speed at which the brain processes the information. Two, working memory. Working memory, this memory is a place where the information received from the outside or new information is integrated with the stored in the long-term memory, the previous knowledge. And the long-term memory is constituted by all the knowledge, experience, and knowledge that are stored throughout life and is essential at the time of understanding. Only can be currently related to what is already known that is to what is in long-term memory is understood. Okay, attention. Attention involves focusing on certain things, leaving others aside. In a sense, we could also speak of concentration. This issue, which is common to all species, is essential for survival. An example is at the moment of reading or studying, where seeing is forced to take precedence over other senses. Attention is essential to achieve the goals we set ourselves. Luckily, it should be noted that focusing on one sense don't imply eliminating the others. It simple means that the others will remain at the basic level and energies will be concentrated a specific issue. Okay, perception. Perception is fundamental because It separates today the sensation that come through the senses. This means that without sensation, there will be no perception. And this is normal because it is a hyper stage of evolution. There are some occasions when sensation and perception are treated together. The reality, however, is that the same sensation can give rise to different perception depending on the context. Okay, sensation. Sensation is the most basic processes that exist because it basically involves registering. As expected, it is also important to know about higher cognitive processes. It consists of information linking from the basic process introduced before, which are thinking, for example, it integrates all the information and allows the creation of judgments, deductions, and learning. It can be inductive, deductive, or hypothetical, deductive, reasoning. Okay, executive. Executive functions they enable the management of behavior through planning, behavioral inhibition, and decision making. Learning depends on the ability to pay attention to the stimulus to store in memory and retrieve in later. Language. Language fundamental in communication and as internal regulation of the behavior in the form of self-instruction. Language is not only oral, but also includes other types of communication. Okay, creative. Creativity implies the elaboration of new strategies far from what has been learned. And motivation. Motivation, the process by which someone leads the behavior and energy to devote himself or herself to a subject interest. There is a very important question in this topic, which is how is the relationship between cognitive processes and cognitive skills? Okay, cognitive processes are those mental operations that drive the construction of cognitive abilities which can be trained and improved. Learning these abilities is a lifelong process that constantly modifies cognitive skills such as memory, concentration, or association, among many others. In order to elaborate reasoning, the brain needs to use these skills that allow it to put the same processes into practice. Take language as an example to interpret it. We need to resort to accurate learning, memory, and thinking, among other complex cognitive processes. Thank you very much.